Let's now create multi-dimensional array list. For that code, we will use new file. The real question is what multi-dimensional list create for us. In that kind of list, we can create one global list which will contain multiple lists. Now we will create new variable L1 and we will write our operator. After this, instead of one brackets like we had in one dimensional list, now we have two brackets like this. After these brackets, we declare data type which we want to use. So let's say we want to use integers. After that, we will open our block where we will assign our new values. Let's now go back to see how we can define specific dimension in our brackets. In the first bracket, we will specify how many lists we want inside of our global list. So let's say in this example we want 2. Then inside of second brackets we will specify the number of the elements which each of these lists will have inside of our global list. Let's say we want 3 elements. When we want to assign new values, we can do like this. Here we assigned 2 new lists and each list has 3 new elements. With dimension 2, we specified that we want 2 lists, and with number 3, we specified number of elements which each of these lists will have. When we print multidimensional list and the length of that list, the output will look like this. Our L1 list is global list, and that list contains 2 different lists. When we print length of that global list, the output will be 2, because in this case length will indicate us to number of our groups. So in this case, length of our global list L1 variable will be 2. Let's now create new example. Our new variable L2 will be multidimensional list, where dimension of our global list will be 3, and each list inside of that global list will have 2 elements. So now we have 3 lists with 2 elements. When we print L2 variable and also print length of that variable, the output will look like this. Inside of our global list, we will have 3 lists, and each of these lists will have 2 elements. Length of our L2 variable will be 3, because we are indicating to number of our dimension. So in this case, our dimension is 3. Let's now see how we can read, write, and modify our multidimensional list. We have a new multidimensional list where dimension is 3, and each of these groups will have 3 new elements. When we print our new list, the output will look like this. We want to change the values of our first group. Before we do that, remember that this counting is exactly like our indexing, which means that our groups and elements of our groups is counting from 0, not from 1. If we want to change values of elements inside of first group, we will do that like this. We will access our A variable, then we will open our brackets, and we will specify which group we want to use. In this example, if we want to use first group, we will target index place 0. Then we can assign new list of 3 elements. When we print new updated multidimensional list, output will look like this. We see that in previous case values of our first group were 1, 3, and 5. Now, values in our first group are 11, 33, and 55. Also, we can specify new empty list to specific group. In output of this example, we see that second group is updated and values of each element inside of that group is 0. We want to know how we can change value of specific element in a specific group. First, we will access our variable. We will target our specific group, but because we want to target specific element in that group, we will write two brackets. Inside of first bracket, we will specify group which we want to use, let's say second group. So in this case, we will target index place 1, and we want to target second element in second group, which means that we want to target also index place 1 for our element. Now we can assign new value to that element. After we print our new updated list, output will look like this. In our output, we can see that second element in our second group is updated and new value is 44. Let's now create multi-dimensional slice. We will declare our variable, then we will specify our multi-dimensional slice. As you can see, we have also two brackets in our multi-dimensional slice as we had in our multi-dimensional array list. But now you can see the big difference. We didn't specify number of our dimension, neither number of elements in that specific dimension. This gives us extremely big flexibility because now our slice list can have 2, 5, 7, or 50 groups if we want. Also, numbers of elements inside of these groups doesn't have fixed value, which means that one group can have 3 elements, second group can have 2 elements, and third group can have 4 elements, like this. Now you can see the real flexibility of our multi-dimensional slice. When we print our slice and length of that slice, the output will look like this. We can see that in this case, the length is 3 because we have 3 dimensions, and also we don't have the same number of elements inside of each group. Let's now change all values inside of our first group. That group will have index place 0. When we updated our first group, we can see when we print whole slice the difference of the values inside of our first group. In previous example, we had 1, 3, and 5, and now we have 11, 33, and 55. We want to know how we can remove specific group. We can do that by assigning index place of specific group, and value which we will assign to that group will be empty slice. In this case, we assigned new empty slice on index place 1, which means that we removed all the elements inside of our second group. Let's now add one new slice with one element on indexing place 1 inside of our S slice. Now we want to know how we can add one specific value in one specific group. Function append will help us with that. First, we will access specific group which we want to use. Then we will call our append function, and now we have two stages. First starting point will be also our group which we are targeting. First element inside of our append function will be S of indexing place 1. After that, we will write specific value which we want to add inside of that specific group. Now, when we print new updated S slice, the output will look like this. Let's update specific value of element which already exists inside of our specific group. We will again access our variable, and then we will write two brackets. First bracket will target our specific group, and second bracket will target specific element inside of that group. Let's say if we write 1, 1 values, we want to target second group, and inside of that group we want to target second element. Now we can assign new value. After this, when we print new updated slice, output will look like this. We want to know how we can remove specific element from our specific group. So let's say we want to remove element 44 inside of our second group. We will access our variable and we will target indexing place 1. Then we will call our append function, and inside of this function, first starting point will be empty slice. Then we will add only specific value at specific group, which means we want to target second element because we want to leave that element inside of our group, and we want a specific group, which in this case will be second group. We will specify indexing place 1 for element. After this, when we print our slice, output won't have 44 value inside of our second group. If we want to remove all elements inside of one specific group, we can do that with reserved word nil. Nil will remove all elements inside of specific group which we are targeting. All elements inside of our second group will be deleted. We have deleted all the elements, but still length of our slice is 3. What if we want to resize our slice to dimension 2? We can do that like this. We will append empty multidimensional slice inside of our S slice, and then each following element will be specific group which we want to leave in our slice. So indexing values of our groups are 0, 1, and 2. If we want to leave first and third group, our elements will target 0 and 2 indexing places, because that indexing places we want to leave inside of our S slice. Then, when we print our new updated slice, we can see that now we have 2 dimensions and the length of our slice is not anymore 3. Now it's 2. In the next video, we will start to talk about maps, and we will see how maps can help us with writing our data.